All right, guys, watch this video for Tuesday, March 27th. A quick reminder, the market's closed Friday. I was reminded of that today by some members in the chat room. The market is closed Friday, so 3 more days left in the week, and volume probably taper off. Getting closer to Friday, we'll see. What a nice bounce in the SPY today, right off that 200 day, and a huge day. Actually, I thought somebody tweeted geez, I don't know, like the biggest up day since 2008 or something. It was like Dow was up almost 700 points, point wise anyway, probably not percentage wise, but point wise for the Dow. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, Again, I didn't have a huge day. I did have a couple. This right here is proof that I'll trade anything. AYTU, a 50-cent stock, and Tesla, a $300 stock. I traded them both. I also had a couple other trades that made small gains, and I started off my day with a $180 loss in my first trade. A couple small gains, and then these are kind of a couple of my better trades. But I had a decent day. Look down below in the description if you are interested in getting a lifetime membership to our chat room. We are not like the other chat rooms. We actually work together, call stuff out ahead of time before they trigger. And also, I can give you 2 or 3 reasons why I'm calling any call I make at the time I'm calling, right? And it's always chart-based, volume-based, inflection point-based, but it's never, hey, you know what? I think XYZ is going to go here. I'm getting long. And that's the kind of stuff we teach in our course and in our chat room is when to get long, how to get long so you're green right away. And that's probably the thing I'm best at is sitting in cash unless and until I have one of those setups. Because I hate taking a position and being red right away. I just got sick of that. So I figured out a better way. All right, anyway, enough babbling. AKER. Let me take today's candle out of it. I've been talking about this for a few days in my watch list videos. I love this kind of pop and this little cup and handle forming. Unfortunately, it gapped up today on news. So I didn't get to enjoy the move from here to here because it gapped up, and on a 5-minute basis, never gave me any kind of setup, right? It ripped out of the gate. I don't ever chase out of the gate. I don't ever buy at the open. I've got to have a setup. And then you can see it rips to new lows, then a lower high, just chop fest the rest of the day. But I do want to watch it tomorrow. All right, if it gets some volume, we might just get a push through $1 and maybe a little bit of a squeeze. So that one's worth watching. TOPS, you can't really see anything here unless I zoom way in. Had this pop on Friday. I think this is because of a reverse split, though. I'm not positive, but it's certainly interesting over 250. So I want to watch that one. EKSO. Now, this one I was actually tweeting jokes about because what they did today, to the best of my knowledge, they came out and said, hey, we've got an exciting news release coming later today or coming soon, and everybody piles into the stock. And then the news release, they come out and say, we're starting a quarterly newsletter or something lame like that. And I made a joke that day, hey, if they come out with a news release that they're going to have a big sale, I'm all in. But it's kind of interesting because, this is the pop off of the original story I just told you. And then it started grinding higher. And then the news came out. And it did this, and it ended up closing pretty strong anyway. So now that you've got the background, you'll understand why I'm not that thrilled about this one. But I'm also impressed at the way it held up. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to watch it tomorrow, but certainly not my favorite. SSC. This one had a nice pop today. Kind of breaking out over this high, this volume pop back here. On a 5-minute, this was on our gap playlist this morning, and it ended up not giving any kind of entry signal throughout most of the morning. This was the opening candle. Then it popped up to 210 and kind of flagged a little bit. So I called it at 211, which was right there with a 204 stop. And you can see it broke, went to 215 and chopped around for a while and then flagged. And I pointed out this flag too before it really started going. I made next to nothing in it. But it worked, and if the stop certainly held, and it had a really nice, almost parabolic move in the afternoon. Because it was so strong in the afternoon, I'm going to watch it again tomorrow. But that's an example of something I called today in chat. RKDA. This one was just insane, moving from $5 to over $65. It's just a pure short squeeze. There's no other way to put it. Shorts kept piling in and kept having to cover because it kept going higher. But now it's actually worked its way down close to the 20-day. Am I bullish on the story behind the company? Guess what? I'm a day trader. I don't know the story behind the company. You get little tidbits from people in chat and Twitter and so on as you're trading, but I have no idea. The volume's really died down in this thing, but it is interesting if it touches the 20-day. Again, usually when you get a move like this, over the next month or two, the thing completely round trips, and this one might not be any different. So don't email me and say you don't understand. This thing's going all the way back. It might be. I don't care. I'm just looking for a bounce tomorrow, and again, only with a proper setup that we teach. So, but it is interesting now because it's gotten down to the 20-day. All right. So not in love with it, but goes on watch. JAGX. I've been watching this one for a few days, and today it gapped up, out, like above 4 or 5 days worth of trading, and it kind of found support at the 20-day. It never broke its early highs, but it held up. You can kind of picture a trend. You kind of picture a line right here connecting the tops of these candles. Well, it's up kind of above that line or right at it. I certainly love it over today's high. Having said all that, I am not that comfortable trading something in the 20-cent range. For one, it's hard for me to figure out how many shares to buy, and I don't trade them that often. You get up between 50 cents and $1, I like them more. The 20-cent range is just really difficult for me. So I can't say that I love this, but it made a massive move this day, and there was a lot of money to be made on that day. Anyway, I'm going to watch it, but again, another one that I'm not really in love with. I didn't type that right. TNDM popped back here and is really kind of going sideways. A little extra volume the last couple days. Friday's high was 420. Today's high, 419. So over 420, you're breaking the last 2 days high. And then let's look at some other highs here. 422-ish here. It says 421.5. We'll round that up to 422. And then here, 429. And up above that, you've got the 200-day that might come into play. So if it can break above this area, this line right here, get up into the mid to high 420s maybe, on volume, it could break out. I have found that this one trades kind of sucky, so be careful with it. DSS had this big spike on Friday, kind of a quiet inside red day today after a small gap up. This also was on our gap playlist, never gave a buy signal. But sometimes you get the pop, quiet red day, and then you get the third day pop again. So we're going to watch that one. Dropbox is only 2 days worth of trading so far, and it's a weird open. Isn't it a weird opening 2 days? Gapped up, ripped, closed at its lows today, gapped up, takes out the lows from Friday before closing again at the highs of the day. I was watching this one all afternoon for a break of the half, for a break of the high right here, 30.50. 30.50, 30.50. Hits it several times. You kind of I'll pan out a little bit here so you get a better view of it. You kind of had a big cup and handle forming, and there was a big seller at the half. I loved it over 30.50 because you're taking out a big seller, and then you've got a potential high of day break just above that. I always look for another catalyst on the chart above an area that's interesting. So above 30.50, I was expecting this to rip through new highs for the day, 30.67, light up the new high ticker. Shorts start to cover if they're short. I can't short these IPOs, but there's always shorts and everything. And then a possible break of Friday's high. So it was a stacked catalyst scenario. Seller needed to be taken out. It never happened. I never took a trade in this, but I did love the intraday cup and handle. Tweeted a few times that it was interesting, but it never triggered. And you know what? Even if it would have broken in this last 5-minute candle, I'm not taking that because there's no time to take profits right at the end of the day. So anyway, and then CDNA. Wayne called this over. Speaking of the half, called this over 750 today. It had the earlier high. We talk about another catalyst above. Opening high at 755. When it first came up here at this time, the market was tanking, but then you kind of had this sideways move, and then it finally broke the half. It broke the half here, but it certainly held a dime stop, and then ended up going all the way to 8. Now, it's back on watch for tomorrow because you had the big pop, and you have an inside day. A whole number could come into play. So a breakthrough 8, you might just rip through Friday's high. That's a pretty good setup right there. And we'll find some gappers in the morning to add to this list. And, the market bounce today is pretty encouraging. And, it's like now bears are going to think twice. If you glance at this chart, looking over the last week or two, bears are still firmly in charge. But you did have a nice high volume bounce today. And so now both sides are nervous, right? So in that scenario, you can get some pretty nice trades. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to quit babbling. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night.